Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Sokolik Jr., and I'm a financial coach. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in. This is a live video, and if you're tuning in right now at this very second, you're probably watching the rerun because as of right now, I have 0 viewers because I just got started. So, what I'm going to do is ask you to bear with me if you're watching the rerun. I am going to go into my Facebook and see that I am live. And when I do that, I'm going to, there it is. Look at that. I'm watching myself. This is so cool. Now, I'm going to share this video, okay? And let's see here. Tune in now. I'm going to share this video, and I want you to follow what I just did. You're probably already in Facebook or YouTube. Go ahead and share this video. Don't forget to like this video, which I'm going to throw out some likes right now. Okay. And throw out some likes and make sure you click follow and send me your questions. I want to know what kind of questions that you have about what is a financial coach. What kind of services do you offer as a financial coach? If you have questions about debt, if you have questions about retirement, simple common sense money management, taxes, anything, I would love to answer them. So I am not a tax professional, I'm not an enrolled agent, I'm not a CPA, I'm not that. I know and understand the basics of taxes, which is good for folks who are probably tuning in, just regular old average people. I do understand a little bit of business taxes as well as a business owner, so I can definitely help you with some basic questions there. Mostly tax preparation when it comes to handling your finances. That's the kind of tax questions I'm good at answering. What are some other good questions I'm good at answering about retirement? I understand basic retirement. I understand Roth IRAs, traditional, simple stock market investing is what I understand. If it's above my pay grade, I'll be happy to tell you. Again, the answers that I understand and that I know are ones that are relevant to me as a financial coach in getting you out of debt and setting you up with that. So, the other question I told you to ask me was, what was it? About debt. So I totally understand about debt. I'm not a professional mathematician, but I know enough math to know that debt is dumb, cash is king, and when you have debt, you're compounding against yourself. So I'm definitely here to help with questions like that too. Let me log into my YouTube right now and check what is going on over here. I see that I'm also live on YouTube. Want to check that to see how we're doing. Go over here to my chat. So here's what I'm going to do, guys and gals, is I am going to answer some questions about who I am. So someone asked me last week, I had a great conversation with a young lady on the phone who asked me, what exactly is a financial coach? She herself she has an MBA in finance and stuff. So she was asking me, what exactly do you do as a financial coach, Michael? And I said, I'm so glad that you asked because I need the practice in telling people what it is that I do. What I do as a financial coach is I get together with people who are struggling with their finances. I also get together with people who may not be struggling with the financial aspect, but they're struggling with what to do with the money because they may have an abundance and they don't know what to do with it. So I get with people like this and I let them know right off the bat that I am a short term investment. There is no long term with me as far as me sticking around with you until retirement or through retirement or anything like that. I am such a short term investment because all I'm here to do is give you some simple education on what it is to manage your finances. Now, I also teach biblical principles. So a lot of people ask me, "Oh, you teach the Dave Ramsey stuff." Well, yes, but Dave Ramsey teaches the Jesus stuff, the God stuff. So really, I don't teach Dave Ramsey things. I teach God's word. So uh, nobody really created this. It's God's word. So when it comes to biblical principles, there's some things that we stand that I stand on a solid foundation. Like I don't think debt is a good idea. I know that debt is not a sin. It is not a sin to have debt. I just don't think that it is a good idea to obtain it because God has nothing good to say about it. He doesn't say that it's a sin. He just has nothing good to say about being in debt. His word constantly says to get out of debt. Let's see. What are some other good biblical principles? Inheritances. Wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Proverbs 13:22. Proverbs 13:12. Hope deferred makes the heart grow sick. Um, but being uh, patient or something like that is like the tree of life. I can't remember the verse. Go look it up for yourself. Um, I stand on that principle. I stand on the principle of the borrower is slave to the lender. I stand on the principle of materialism is no good. Luke 12:15. Jesus says uh, that. What's he say? He says that uh, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for life does not consist in the abundance of one's possessions. Whew, there's a lot of verses stuck up here. Luke 12:15, I think that was. So I stand on those kinds of principles when I teach people. Is I'm not teaching people to get filthy rich for their own selfish indulgence. I'm not teaching people to get out of debt. Um, just well, yeah, I'm teaching people to get out of debt because debt sucks. Um, and I'm teaching people to, get up with a financial planner and get their retirement set up. So those are the things that I teach. When it comes to debt, how to pay off debt, I teach the debt snowball. A lot of people will challenge me on this about the debt avalanche versus the debt snowball. The debt avalanche, I guess you can come out, it depends on the numbers, but I mean, you might come out ahead on saving money. But that's not why I teach the debt snowball is so that you lose more money. I teach the debt snowball because it gives you small victories, and you see that and you feel that as you're going into debt, as you're swiping the card and you're going into debt, you are doing something that feels good, and you're putting the money right back in into your wallet because you take the card and you put it right back in. Like you don't part ways with anything, and it feels good to use that debt to get what you want. Well, if you're doing the debt snowball and you see that first debt is eliminated, you feel good about it. You don't have money in your pocket no more, but you know good and darn well that you have one more bill taken care of, that you will have more money in your pocket by the time that you're done with this. So the debt snowball is about small victories, and it's about feeling good as you're paying off your debt. That's why I recommend the debt snowball. It's not about math, it is about behaviors. Let's see, what are some other things that I teach? Prioritizing. Prioritizing is a very important thing when it comes to what I teach because, oops, um, because without priority in your finances, um, you be lost. Excuse me just a moment. I'm just checking out what I'm doing here. Cool. I just want to make sure everything was working right. So, those are some of the things I teach. So, hey, if you're tuning in right now, I would love to hear what your questions might be about financial coaching, whether you have questions about financial management, um, debt, whatever it may be. I would love to answer those questions for you. So, some other common questions that I get. Well, actually, I want to touch on this first. The young lady I spoke with last week had asked me, "What is the common denominator with people that call you?" And I told her that, strange enough, the common denominator I see is nobody tells me that they want to retire, that they like that's not part of their goals. So since last week, one of the new questions I ask people in the consultation or before their consultation is to bring a list of goals of like a 5 year plan and a 30 or 40-year plan. And when I did that, the last person who came in, the last two people that came in actually had retirement on their 30-year goal. And I thought that was fantastic. I said, great. Finally, somebody came in with that. And I think that, uh, you know, putting that out there like, hey, bring me your 30 or 40-year plan, I think that kind of helped them to put down that they want to retire. But other than that, people don't think about retirement. People don't think like that far ahead. Most everybody that comes to see me is thinking about, dude, I am swamped. I'm up to here in debt and like I can't breathe and I almost can't see what's in front of me because they're swamped in debt. So one of the big things is retirement. People don't bring me their retirement uh, goals. And that's one thing that I can definitely help with. We can pull out retirement calculators. We can talk about what it takes to get there and the sacrifices that need to be made now to get people to that point. So I see quite a few people are tuning in right now. So thank you so much for tuning in. I would love to hear your questions about common sense money management, whatever they may be. Throw them in the chat. I would love to answer them for you. If I have an answer, I will be glad to give it. If I don't, I'll circle back around to you. All right. So let's see. What are some other questions that I've received throughout the years? I say throughout the months. So I started this in the summer of 2021. Officially started this financial coaching um, journey. Before that, it was kind of like a big guinea pig situation, and it's been a lot of fun. So since then, some of the great questions that I've been asked is giving. So in the steps that I teach, the first step is to always give. We always want to give right off the top. Again, these are biblical principles that I'm teaching. So when it comes to giving, we recommend 10%, which is also known as a tithe in Hebrew, if you speak Hebrew, which I don't. But tithe in Hebrew is tenth. That's all that it means. So as Christ followers, we give a tenth of our income. Um, Now, if you're in a church that believes in giving it to the church, like the church building where you are, and allowing them to distribute it out into the community to make a difference, great. If you believe in, all right, 10%, and I'm going to give it to, wherever, however, whatever it takes, man. Jesus said we've got to give. We got to part ways with our possessions, and we have to give. So giving. What does that look like? What do I give off of? The net or the gross? Come on, people. Let's be real here. I don't think that God is watching, that whole thing like, hey, you gave off the net, not the gross. Shame on you. I don't think that's what's going on here. Only 3% of American evangelical Christians in America are tithing. So I don't really know if you should give off the net or the gross. I think you should just give because most of them ain't, most of y'all tuning in might not be giving anyway. So, I mean, just go give. Don't worry about the net or the gross. Giving is very important, and where you give is very important. Some people say, "Well, I gave, and it's in their hands," and yes, but you don't want to feed somebody's bad habits either. So you have to be very cautious in your giving. Be prayerful in your giving. One of the last questions that I received for a couple that I was coaching, they had asked me, okay, well, after I get through that, and you're using the percentage method, okay? So what happens is you have, let's see if I can get this right. So let's just say that you have $1,000 income for the month, okay? You want to give, you're giving 10% of that away. That's $100. That leaves you with $900 left over. Well, then you want to put into your retirement, okay? 15% of your income. Well, 15% is 150 bucks. So you subtract 150 from here, right? And you've got 750. Well, some people ask me, well, do I give to my retirement, do I take 15% from the 900 or from the 1000? You take the 15% from the total take home pay, not what is left over. Okay. Um, so that's another common question is how do I budget using percentages and all this stuff? You know, do you take it off of what's left or do you take it off of the entire income? So that is the way to do it, to take it off of the total household income. Um, that's another common question that I've received. Some of the other questions that I've received that I have found some pretty good answers to is, let's see, the debt snowball. is is it really worth it, and is it really going to pay off uh, if I do this? And the answer is yes, it is worth it, and it will pay off using the debt snowball. What happens is, for me and my family, when we did the debt snowball, I found any opportunity I could to earn money, whether it was selling junk. I was in music at the time, so I was playing music. I was playing my heart out in music, and I'm in construction as well during the day, and I was taking on any job that we could. And as I was being financially obedient, by doing my taxes in an honest way, by having the proper insurances and workers' comp and all that stuff as a business owner, I noticed God was blessing my business that I'm in partnership with somebody. He was blessing that over and over again. And that contributed over the 18 months to my family and I getting out of debt, $61,000 in 18 months. So I say that if you're on the way to start the debt snowball, be obedient in that and just do it, because it does pay off, it does work, and God will bless that, and He will bring you more so that you can pay off more. You know, we were projected to pay off our debt in like 3 years. We did it in half the time. We did it in half the time because we were financially obedient. Um, I don't think that there's a prosperity gospel in the Bible. I don't think that, oh, you give and you'll get more. I do think that if you give, that you get more. I do think if you're financially obedient, that you get more. What do you do with the more that you've been given? That is the question. What could I have done with the more that I was given when I was paying off debt? I could have stuck it in the bank. I could have went on vacation. I could have bought a new car. I could have done all this stuff. But instead, I used it to get out of debt because that's what I was doing. That was my plan, and that's what God called me to do, was to get out of debt. His word calls everyone to get out of debt. So I was financially obedient. God's not going to give you more for you to indulge in yourself and have like be like this. That's not what He's going to give you more for. God is going to give you more to continue being financially obedient. I cannot stress that enough. There's nothing wrong with being rich. There's nothing wrong with rich people. The problem is right here. The problem is here in your heart. So, are you willing to give it all up and follow Jesus is the question. And if you are and you're obedient, he'll bless that. He will bless it, but He's not going to bless it so that you can indulge in yourself. He's going to bless it so that you can give, so that you can be financially obedient. That's a really, really big thing with me. And I think that right there is where people stop and they're just like, I'm out. I cannot do this, but I'm a real person. I'm not going to tell you that this is going to bring abundance to you and to your family. I don't know how God's going to bless it. And I'm not going to tell you this is going to get you rich. It's going to get you rich. You're going to get rich, in heaven if you do this right. I don't know about here on earth. And if you do get rich here on earth, great, manage it well. So those are a few other things. And man, I could just go all day long about financial management, but I want to hear some of your questions. What do you got for me? I did a public speaking event one time, and there was a young lady there who didn't ask me this that night, but she asked me this later down the road. And I said, there's a spiritual danger to being in debt, and that is presuming upon the future. Presuming upon the future, as in, we're going to go to this city or that city and work for a year and make a profit. Like, all right, you just presumed on the future that you're going to live for a year and that you're going to make a profit. And if you have debt, you're going to be able to pay it off. You don't know that. You don't know that that's the case. So don't presume upon the future. It's violating biblical principles, presuming on the future. You're not promised tomorrow. She said, well, you talk a lot about investing. So isn't that presuming upon the future? Sure, you're presuming upon the future that you're going to retire, that you'll live long enough to retire, and that your investments are going to grow to where you will be able to be self-sufficient in your retirement. I said, but the difference here is that the legacy you're leaving behind in investing versus obtaining debt and thinking that you can pay it off is this. You're going to leave behind something to your family that is going to take care of them and that can change the world. By having debt, you leave that behind, and that doesn't help change the world for the better. It helps change the world for the worse by adding financial stress to whoever it is that you're leaving behind. The other thing is that in 1 Thessalonians chapter 3, Paul is talking, writing to the Thessalonians, telling them, hey, when I was with you, I was working. I was not a burden to you. You want to set yourself up so that if you do live that long to retire, that you are not a burden to other people. So you're presuming on the future, yes, that you're going to be alive and that you will have good investments, but that is so that you are not a burden. And there's a difference in the presumption of the future, and you have to take the context in which you're talking about here. So that was a really good question from her, and I wish she had asked me that night at that public speaking event that question, but she didn't. She asked me in private, and I thought it was great. But that's the difference in presuming upon the future, is the context in which you're presuming. Are you presuming that you can pay off debt? Or are you presuming I might be able to reach retirement age? How long will I live, and what kind of legacy will I leave behind to help change the world? So there's a difference in the context. Awesome. I'm just trying to think of some other questions that I may have received over the time of doing this. But again, I would love to hear from you. And if you're watching the replay on this, feel free to comment or send a private message. Also want to remind everybody out there that I do have a TikTok account now. It's MSJR Financial Coach. I also have Facebook, which you may be watching right now. I have Instagram. Those are both MSJR Financial Coach. Of course, YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you click like the video and subscribe to the channel. And follow me on all social media platforms. I would greatly appreciate it. And again, I would love the opportunity to coach some of you people out there. And I can do virtual appointments, so we can hop on Zoom or Facebook Messenger or whatever it may be, and we can do a free consultation. And if you want to work with me, I do accept digital payments, so we can work together anywhere in the country. Of course, if you're in the Grand Strand area of South Carolina, I would love to sit down with you right here in my office and talk with you about moving forward, providing some services. I think that they are very affordable. And if you think that your budget is really tight and you can't afford something like that, let's review your budget. I could probably find where you can afford me in that. And usually that includes cutting out subscriptions and cable and stuff like that, things that you don't need to survive. So again, going along with a financial coach, everybody, does come along with a sacrifice. So be prepared for that part. But it is temporary. It is not a long-term thing, this sacrifice. and you'll be able to live your best life yet. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Debt Free Discovery. And we would love to hear your questions. So make sure that you email or send those to us right here in the chat box. And I will see you folks around the block. Take care.